So today we're gonna cover how to make a pinwheel, a motorized pinwheel, out of an Arduino Uno R3 board. So first things first, we're gonna look at our board over here, okay? Our board has 2 rows of pins. On the right over here, as you can see, we've got our digital pins. Okay, our digital pins are pin numbers, so it's like pin 0, pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, and so on. Other side, we've got analog pins, which are A0, A1, A2, A3, and so on. And we've got our power pins, which have ground and 5 volts in them. So, to uncover how this works, we're first going to take off our pinwheel attachment, and we'll save that for later when we demonstrate. So, right here, what I'm holding in my hand, this is a DC motor. Now, a DC motor spins very fast, so it's sometimes can be dangerous. Now, here we've got our battery, our 9-volt battery. Now, why do we need a battery if we've got a wire and a computer already, right? We need a battery because this DC motor over here, this DC motor can't only take in 5 volts. It needs more power, right? So we've got this 9-volt battery to supplement the 5 volts from our external power source to help out in powering this DC motor. Now, in between these wires, we've got a switch, a resistor, which is going to slow down the electric current, a transistor, which is kind of like a gate, okay? And we've got a diode. Now, the diode makes it so that the electric current can only flow in one direction. So if you think about the electrons in the wire as a bunch of dots, okay, the dots will all flow from left to right, right? But the diode makes sure that some of the dots don't flow from right to left, which may cause internal damage on the DC motor if it goes back in. Okay, now let's go over the wiring over here. So, let's start at the DC motor. From the DC motor, we've got 2 wires. We've got a black and a red wire. The red wire connects to this side. This is our positive, negative side, right? This is where we kind of like ground things to their side. Right, this is kind of like for our power, right? Now, the black wire, however, is on this other side. So on this other side of this weird structure. You know what I called it before? I called it a diode. Now, the diode, like I explained before, makes it go in only one direction. So now we've got the diode in place. Now, the battery also has 2 wires coming out of it. It's got a black and a red wire. But this time, the black and the red wire are really close together. Now, because the battery is a power source, it's put into the positive and negative side because it helps out with the power. Now we've got the switch, which is going to turn our circuit on and off. It's not working right now because I haven't plugged into our external power source. We've got the resistor, which is going to slow down our electric current to make it easier to see the motion of the motor. We've got, I don't know if you can see, but we've got our little transistor here. Now this is our gate, right? So transistor, I'm just gonna put it back right here. Yeah. Now we've also got a bunch of these green and yellow wires. Now the green and yellow wires, they connect to a bunch of different things. This green wire right here, close to the red wire of the DC motor, this wire connects both of the positive, negative power sources, right? So this is gonna connect your switch and your transistor and your resistor, and that's gonna connect it to your diode and your DC motor and your battery, right? Now we've got another green wire right here in the middle of this pile of wires. Now we've got this wire also connects to our diode, right? It's right next to the black wire, but it also connects to our transistor over here. So this is connecting your transistor to your diode. Okay, now you've got all these mini wires over here. What do these mini wires do, you ask? Well, this yellow one in the far back, this is gonna connect your power source to your switch. This red one in the middle is gonna connect your power source to your resistor. And this red one right at the bottom here, which you probably can't see, but I'm still pointing at it, connects your power source to your transistor. Now, we've also got these last 2. We've got our green wire going into digital pin 2. We've got this yellow wire going into digital pin 9. Now, digital pin 2 and digital pin 9 are very, very, very special pins. Now, digital pin 2 is our switch pin. This is gonna say, is the switch on or is the switch off? If the switch is on, display like 1. If the switch is off, display 0. That's your yes and no. Is the switch on or is the switch off? Now, the yellow wire is our 9-volt wire. That's our motor pin. So this wire is gonna do most of the dealing with the motor. Okay, so green is for the switch, yellow is for the motor. Okay? Now, we've also got these last two over here. This is our black and our red wire. Now, the red wire I kind of briefly explained already. This is what connects our 5-volt circuit. Now, I've got the battery as an additional power source. And when we plug in the circuit to my external power source, which is my computer, that's where we're going to get our 5 volts from. And we've got our 9 volts here, which is going to make the motor spin. Now, we've also got this black wire. But where is this black wire here? This is at the ground terminal. Now, the ground is what kind of brings everything together. This is where all those loose electrons flow when you don't need them. Okay, that's your extra power. That's where that goes. Okay? So, now that we've explained the whole circuit, we are going to go to the code. So, let's get this circuit out of the way. Let's bring in the code. So, I use the Arduino IDE. That's where I have the code on. And you can download this on Mac or on Windows. So, the first thing we have here is our first line. We've got const int. What does const int mean? Const stands for constant. Integers, int stands for integer. So the const int that they're defining is switch pin equals 2. Now, as I said before, the pin for the switch is pin 2, which is why we're defining switch pin as 2. Now constant again, and this time we've got motor pin. And motor pin is equal to 9. And like I said before, pin 9, this yellow wire, connects to the motor. Now we've also got this last one. This doesn't have a constant, but it's got an int in it. This is int switch state equals 0. So this is if the switch is on or if the switch is off. So if the switch is 0, if the switch is 1 in binary. 1 means the switch is on and 0 means the switch is off. So they're starting the circuit with the switch off. So void setup, this is what you're going to run one time only. Okay? In void setup, you got pin mode motor pin. Okay? So this is setting your motor pin to your output, making sure your motor pin isn't your input. Then pin mode switch pin is input. So this is making your switch your input. So when you press the pin, the output is the motor spinning. It's not when you spin the motor, the output is the switch being pressed, because that makes no sense. Now, void loop. This is what's going to run repeatedly. So first we've got switch state, which we defined up here as off, right? Switch state is equal to digital read. So it's like, what is this at? And switch pin. So this is going to say, is switch pin is 2, right? Is switch pin on or is switch pin off? Right? And that's going to determine switch state. Now, then it takes that piece of code and it says, is switch state high? High means on, and low means off, right? So digital write, so this is checking, what is this? So we're going to make some edits, right? It makes motor pin high. So this makes the motor go on. But if the motor pin is low, if the motor is not working, right? If the motor is not spinning, then, or if the switch is not on, then make the motor go off, right? And we're about to see that in action. So what we're gonna do is we got this cable over here. This cable has an Arduino Uno attachment to it, and it's connected to an adapter here. Now, I have a Mac, so I need this adapter, but if you have a Windows, it comes with a USB cable. I just got this adapter from my house. So, what we're going to do is we're going to put our adapter in. We're going to put our cable into our circuit. Here we go. We're going to get our circuit back here. So now you should probably see your Arduino Uno circuit light for on is on, right? And that tells us that our power is coming from the computer and that our power source is working. Now, when you press the button, you might hear it or you might see it, but the motor's spinning. Now I'm about to make that clear by attaching our pinwheel onto it. So let's put our pinwheel on. Now it's on, we're gonna press the button. There you go. And our pinwheel spins, right? Now I got this pinwheel attachment from the Arduino Uno starter kit components, but you could make your own. You can make a fan, you can make it out of a propeller to make a plane. There's so many uses for this certain circuit that come in handy. So definitely try out more than one thing, and we'll be back with the next video. Thank you.